Let us continue with part 2 of the lesson Kingdom Fungi. In the previous video today, I have sent the general characteristics, then some technical terms, structure, then the reproduction, the layout like this, and I had completed vegetative reproduction in the first video. In this second video, I will explain the asexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction in fungi occurs by formation of spores, also called as propagules. These spores may be thick or thin walled. They may be motile, that means they can be able to move, or they may not be able to move. We also call them as non motile. All right. Then the spores produced, they are of two types. We call them meiospores and mitospores, right? The meiospores are produced sexually after meiosis. Example, this is like ascospores and basidiospores, right? We'll talk about classes later in the classification. For just now, you can understand they are ascospores and basidiospores, the ones which are formed sexually after meiosis. So broadly, we call them meiospores. Mitospores, they are produced asexually after mitosis. So these are genetically similar to the parent body, right? They are mostly formed in large number. That is, these mitospores are found in large numbers. So let us come to the details of asexual reproduction and how it takes place. The asexual reproduction, it occurs by the formation of following type of 8 spores. First is zoospores, second aplanospores or sporangiospores, third chlamydospores, fourth oidea, fifth conidia, sixth ascospores, seven basidiospores, and eight binucleate spores. So I would first show them one by one so that you understand in a better way. Here we have the first one, zoospores, right? Now, as you can see, these zoospores, they look like motile. That means they may be able to swim, etc. They have a flagella, right? So they are flagellated spores, and they are formed within the structure called as zoosporangia. They are usually naked. That means they do not have a cell wall around, right? And they may bear one or two flagella. This helps them to swim in aquatic habitat. The zoospores may be of two types, like this I have made. The first type is pyriform or pear-shaped, right? And they bear two flagella at the same anterior end. Example, albugo and phytophthora. And the second category may be kidney or bean shaped with oppositely directed flagella, right? So once again, zoospores, I told you, they are motile, flagellate, naked, that is, they do not have the cell wall, and they are of two shapes, pear shaped or pyriform, and kidney shaped or bean shaped. Examples I have given here, right? They are like albugo, phytophthora. Example, two would be enough, right? We're talking of the entire category of examples under zoospore. So we're not specially saying which is pyriform or which is the kidney shape, but the overall examples under zoospores are albugo and phytophthora, these two fungi. Coming to the second, aplanospores or sporangiospores. This would look like familiar to you. In class 9th, you've studied bread mold. So aplanospores or sporangiospores, these are thin-walled, non-motile. That means they do not have a flagella, etc. So they cannot move on their own, right? So how do they move? They disperse by wind. On liberation from this rounded sporangium, they germinate into a new mycelium, and the hypha that bears the terminal sporangium, right? So this continued part of the hypha, it is called as sporangiophore. This is also again seen in the bread mold, that is Mucor and Rhizopus. Coming to the third, chlamydospores. Chlamydospores look like this. They may be, we can say, in some fungi, the vegetative cells change into small rounded spores. You can see them. They are small and rounded, called chlamydospores. They may be terminal. That means they can be at the tip of the hypha, or they can be somewhere in between. We call them intercalary, right? And these remain living or viable for several years. For many years, they would be able to live. And on approach of favorable conditions, right, they will be formed during unfavorable conditions. But when the favorable conditions arrive, they germinate, giving rise to new mycelium. Then the next category, the fourth category of spores under asexual reproduction is oidea. Let us see how they look like. Oidea, they are formed in certain fungi. Once again comes the example mucor, right? In this, the hypha, if you can see, it breaks up into several fragments or pieces. And these pieces are called oidea, right? Or arthrospores. We also have a term, the same are called as arthrospores, right? Now these oidea, they will germinate whenever they come in contact with a suitable substratum, and they will give rise to new mycelium. So it depends, children, very much on the availability of substratum, which should be able to provide some nourishment. Remember, fungi cannot make their own food, so they need some substratum which is suitable to provide nutrients. Coming to the sixth type of spore, that is fifth type, we have come to conidia. Conidia, these look like this structure here. These are non-motile. Again, you can see there are no flagella, etc. So they're totally non-motile, thin-walled, exogenous. The term exogenous means they are oriented outside the organism, right? And they are produced singly, as in Pythium, or in chains on special hypha. You can call them as conidiophores. They are arranged in two types of succession. That is, these conidia, you've seen just now, they are non-motile, thin-walled exogenous spores, and they can be arranged in two types of succession, acropetal and basipetal. In acropetal succession, the youngest of the spores would be at the top and the oldest at the bottom. Whereas in basipetal, just the opposite. Here the uppermost would be the oldest, whereas the youngest would be at the bottom. Example in this conidia, here we have three examples: Pythium, then Aspergillus and Penicillium. Right, so three examples in this conidia. Coming to the sixth type, that is ascospores. Ascospores, they look like this. Here they are non-motile neospores. Neospores, I told you, that means they are formed after meiosis, and they are produced in a special sac called as ascus. The plural is Si. The plural is called ASCI. Now remember, children, each ascus contains 8 ascospores. So count them: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. So this is counted. One ascus will contain 8 ascospores. Why? Because meiosis is accompanied by mitosis. Remember, meiosis always is accompanied by mitosis, and that is why the number is 8. Right? And this ascus only is the reason why we call it class Ascomycetes. Ascospore formation is a characteristic of Ascomycetes as seen in yeast or Saccharomyces. Then, coming to the next, that is Basidiospores. Basidiospores, they look like this structure here. They are non-motile, you can see them here, and they are formed again exogenously. That means outside they are oriented, outside from the organism, on short structures or outgrowths called sterigma, right? These structures are called sterigma, and these are formed on clubbed shaped structure called basidium. In short, a club shaped structure called basidium bears these outgrowths called sterigma, and then the basidiospores are formed. And that is why this is characteristic of Basidiomycetes. We'll talk about the classes and classification in our next videos, right? So this is all about the 7th spore. And now coming to the last type of spore, that is binucleate spores. Binucleate, as the name tells you, they have 2 nuclei. Look at them. These are meant for multiplication of dikaryotic mycelium. Just now I told you in my previous video how the mycelium could be monokaryotic, dikaryotic, or multinucleate. So when these spores they germinate, the mycelium will be dikaryotic like this, right? And they are seen in acidiospores, uridospores, and teleospores. They are found in Puccinia, that is for a wheat rust. So this is all about the asexual reproduction, children. Once again, the same explanation I have briefed short into table like this, right? All 8 type of spores, how they look like, and their examples, right? Before we come to the sexual reproduction that I'll explain in my next video, let us see a brief note about nutrition in fungi. The fungi, they are of 3 types: parasitic fungi, saprophytic fungi, and the ones that form mycorrhiza. Parasitic fungi, they will derive nutrition from a host plant by hostoria, that I showed you in the previous video, how the hostoria, they are formed like these. These are parasitic fungi. Then saprophytic means they derive nutrition from dead decaying organic matter, whereas mycorrhiza, these fungi occur in symbiotic relationship or association with the roots of higher plants like pinus. This also I'll explain in the detail in the next videos about ecto and endo mycorrhiza. So for just now, children, here in this video I have only and only explained about asexual reproduction, which is explained on this page. Alright, here just for a brief understanding I have given you layout of nutrition, but in my next video that will be sent, I'll explain about sexual reproduction, right, in the next. So for just now, for this part of video, you will copy down this single page in your registers. That's all for just now. Thank you.